recorded live.
Hello, everyone.
Good
Hello,
evening.
here we are
Hello.
again.
Good day. Good morning.
Wherever you are, it's Wednesday night when we're recording this. Welcome to Ascension Radio. Well. There's a lot of stuff we want to say tonight. And of course, we're getting ready for a very, very interesting experience, the Zebulon channeling that's going to be recorded later tonight. Very
Looking
much
forward
looking.
to that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so am I. So am I. So anyway, we're very sorry not to be with you live tonight. But we are working on our recording system and actually hope to be with you again live next Sunday. So that's coming up soon. And talking about that, I have received an email from Carl Henrik Janssen, who I would like to contact this way because I would like to talk to him about the Ambio system. He is talking about in his emails to actually make our recordings sound much better. According to Carl, we're still recording in the Stone Age.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
And any help is appreciated.
Yeah, so I'm going to contact you, Carl, and we're going to be talking about that. So hopefully by next Sunday, we have a great system for everyone to tune in, to be on the chat board, and at the same time listen to the show. So we're looking forward to that, aren't we?
Indeed.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Great news.
Actually, I have to say, it has been a quiet time lately, although a lot of stuff has been going on the inside of us ever since Kutumi's message. It's been a time of, let's say, quiet reflection.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, we haven't been recording anything. Actually, I have found myself going to writing a lot in the last few days as I have been working on transcribing or at least editing, let's say, and in some cases expanding with the help of Ikara's first message of the Alchemy series. So I've been working on that for about a day now. That should be online very soon, and we're actually hearing that we have someone to transcribe the Kutumi message.
Yes, we do.
And to talk about that, because that's actually a very interesting topic on a
Right.
practical level. Um, in the last few years, as we've been presenting our work, we have, of course, been offering all these audio channelings and things like that. And transcription and editing has always taken on a lot of time.
Oh,
And
really?
yeah, and Ambika will know because you've been doing the coordination of that, haven't you?
Hmm. And it's nice to do, and I always love going through it. But right now, with all the messages that are gonna come up, it's just gonna be it's just gonna be too much for me. And since we really know and feel that all of you out there are really wanting to help with all of this, we came to a beautiful idea.
Yeah, and actually we are looking for several things to set up several things in the coming days, really. And the first person that we are looking for is a transcription coordinator. So if you are out there and you have an interest in getting these channelings, the transcribed channelings online quickly, and you want to work with a team of people all over the world, basically, probably, who are going to assist you in that, why don't you email us at ambika@pioneerscollege.com so that we can contact you and start talking about that. At the same time, next to the transcription process, because there's a lot of activity actually that goes into creating these channelings and getting them out there for you. And maybe we should go into that a little bit because, of course, there is the recording that we do. And usually the recording is either done, either on audio or video, that's obvious. When we do it on video, of course, there is a lot of editing work that comes to edit the material, to get it together, to get it rendered, uploaded, processed, and things like that. When we do an audio channel, there's also a process involved in preparing that to get it out on the website or even live on the air sometimes. So there is quite a process involved in getting all of that done. Once the channelings are out, we still need to go into a transcription thing, and eventually once the transcription comes back, of course it is edited and then translated in the languages that it is translated in, and I think it's already like 14 or
Yeah.
15
Yeah.
languages at the moment. So that's quite a lot of stuff that happens for one channel. And if you think how they talked about Alchemy of Ascension
Yeah,
being,
that's what I was just getting. I was going to include that in case you didn't. Was the
yeah,
144 episodes, and we all three are getting all kinds of signals that that is really getting close to breaking open. So we're kind of gearing up
yeah,
to be extremely busy with that and
hmm
kind of clearing all of this other stuff off of our plates as much as possible.
yeah.
So it's a call for volunteers.
Yeah, really. And what we've been thinking about setting up, much like we have the Shalalea Ning forum, let's say, which is a Ning a community operated through that system, we're actually thinking about setting up a system for some sort of internal Pioneers College Ning thing. Which would be a message board for people who are volunteers, who are working with us, so that we can increase the interactivity between transcribers, editors, even people who are interested in setting up these houses of ascension or awakening would also be welcome to write in so that we can get this message board up and we can really start working together on a daily basis because the time is getting really close for all of us to, well, the three of us here to start traveling to all of you. We're going to be going all around the world, and at that point, it would be very handy if we could have set that system up where we start creating these houses so that everyone can be guided and assisted in this whole process. So, if you are interested in transcribing or being a transcription coordinator or editing or assisting in any way, or are interested in working with these houses, let's say, or in general, if you just want to take up a more active stewardship for the Pioneers College, write us and we will be making this specialized forum, let's say, in the next few days so that that can become like some sort of internal organ to get all of the things out sooner so we can connect to you in a easier way,
Right.
right? So yeah, all of that being said, there are some couple of other things that I want to talk about before we go a little deeper. And that is that on Shalalea today, we are still working on changing the layout, making it more accessible, more information oriented, and things like that. And part of that layout change is that we are creating, together with some others out there, new Shalalea groups, which are subgroups on the Shalalea community, because we have noticed that in the meantime, you know, there's a lot of different languages on Shalalea. People
Right.
from all over the world, Romania, well, Belgium and Holland, and
Well,
basically
everywhere. I mean,
everywhere.
yeah.
So what we want to do there is set up different language groups so that some of you we've noticed have difficulty communicating about the material in your own language. Now, the groups that have already been set up is Shalalea Dutch. It has been set up by Honara, that's how she's called on Shalalea, but her real name is Suzanne. She's working together on that one with
Bernadette.
Bernadette. Yes, and I've seen Hans and
Yes.
even Nikki
Yes.
join. And I'm mentioning these people for everyone here because they're kind of like the Dutch team, let's say,
Yeah.
that are translating all the channelings in Dutch and that have a website called weefjewereld.nl, which is Dutch for Weave Your World, where all of our Pioneers College material and older material also is offered. So if you are Dutch speaking and you want to connect to people in your own area, in your own neighborhood, go to Shalalea Dutch. It's on the Shalalea forum right at the left bottom somewhere, and you can connect. And of course, there's also another one, the Shalalea British Isles.
Yes.
And
Exactly. Yes.
yeah, it's actually the first one that got started.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, English is English, but what Allison and Elizabeth and Adam is a little bit involved as well, I think, wanted to create was again a community where people from the Isles, let's say, could come together and, you know, start creating practical things. Also, what is wonderful is that you can come together and really see when it would be possible for you all to start creating some symposia or
Yes.
gatherings together as we will be traveling the world. So we can set that up a little bit. So if you are from the British Isles, go check out Shalalea, British Isles.
Indeed.
Yes, indeed, indeed. And so if there is anyone else interested in setting up something in your own language, just go to the group tab and create a new group, and we'll get in touch with you as to how that works if you're not clear on that.
Very good.
Yeah,
And it would be really helpful for all of you.
of course, of course, of course. So with all of that being said, um, how about we talk a little bit about Zebulon?
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe we should begin by how Zebulon got into our lives in the first place.
Yes, that was back in the fall of '08.
Yeah.
And we were still in Boulder.
Mm-hmm.
And Zebulon was the first of the Ish Continuum to speak with us.
Yes.
And I remember that day very well. I was so excited that
Yeah.
this was fun. We had been waiting for this for like 2 or 3 months, and
I
so it
know.
finally came to pass.
Yeah.
Of course,
And-
on 999.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
998, but
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. But with what's going to be coming up next, I know we did this. We listened to the Zebulon channeling today and got really jazzed at the information that was in there
Mhm.
and how pertinent it still is. So
Mhm.
if
And
you
he-
haven't listened to it, be sure to do so.
And even if you have listened to it already, how more deeply you can understand it if you listen to it again.
Exactly.
It was really
Yeah.
exciting to me to do this.
Yes.
Yeah, and I have to say I was quite surprised because actually I took an effort and listened to it again myself today. And normally, there has been so many channelings that we've been doing in the last few years that really I often don't have time to actually listen to them and experience them myself. Just hope that they are, stored somewhere in the Akenaic fields. But it just has been impossible for me. So today I took a little break for myself and I listened to Zebulon, and I was amazed
Yeah.
at the clarity,
Yes.
the directness with which the information came. And do you remember, guys, when we were in Boulder and they told us about the mountains?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, maybe we could talk about that a little bit.
It was really beautiful. They were telling us that they kind of had melted with the mountains in Boulder.
Yeah.
We call them the Zebulon and Ziona Mountain right now. And what is really beautiful is that right now, B and Jump, who still live near Boulder, are
They're
really
on the Shalalea forum, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're really taking on that connection with Zebulon and Ziona. And I think that's beautiful. It feels a little bit of us is still there.
Yeah, it does feel like we were kind of pushed out of there relatively quickly and they kind of took over the guardianship.
Yes.
Yes.
Or the connection to them. So I know that B and Jump have been sending in some emails about the exact location of the mountains and things like that. And I also know that Zebulon has been talking, of course, about the college being created in Boulder. But I just want both of them to know that we are very sure that the energy is still there, even though it got, outrooted and
Right.
moved, but the original
They
intent,
are
the
still
original
there. Oh,
creational intent,
definitely.
yeah, is still there. I mean, I was listening to Zebulon today and he was talking about the quantum potentials that were created when an idea is born. So this has just been one linear dimension, as Zebulon would say, that has taken the course of this college to a different route.
Exactly.
But the energy is still
Oh,
there. There are
definitely.
Right.
infinite dimensions. So, and I'm sure we'll be back in Boulder any day.
Oh.
Yes.
I'm really sure that we'll be going back there. Looking forward to it, really. It has become like a home. But then again, many places have in the
Yes.
course of our journeys. Sedona, Shasta, and so many others. Yeah, yeah. So maybe when you were listening to Zebulon, guys, were there things that you kind of picked out? And before we go into that, if there are people listening to this right now who have not yet taken the opportunity for themselves to listen to Zebulon, I am sure it will be of a great benefit, as Faye was mentioning already, to do that before you actually go into the channel, or maybe even our discussion about the previous channel that you
Yeah,
did.
I would recommend, if you can do that, I would recommend it.
Yeah, and to find it, you actually go to Shalalea right now, and to the right, in the right panel, there is a tab with the channel library, which is our old channel library. If you click Pioneer Series there, you will find his message moving into expressive energy, and that of his partner energy, his feminine self, Ziona, which is the art of expressive energy, and she is coming up on Sunday.
That is
Oh,
so cool.
wonderful. And that one, I listened to a good portion of that one today too, and it's really a wonderful message as well.
Yeah.
And the one thing that amazed me, and I have listened to these a number of times since they were given to us, but it has been several months since the last time, and how much clearer
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
everything was. It all began. I mean, it was so much of it really made sense. So that the part that might have been really extreme now was just a
Yeah.
little minorly challenging, if even that.
I
So
I
it's
had
nice to see the progress we've made.
Yeah, I had the same thing. I was reading it and I was like, "Whoa, he's already been talking about this and we just discovered that a few days ago."
I have to say that when I listened to it again today, I even mentioned this to you guys before the show. I was thinking, why didn't we put this on our main hall earlier? Because basically, Zebulon opens Pioneers
That's
College. He,
right.
He
he starts
does.
talking about it
That's right.
immediately
It was
from
like the blue ribbon cut or the ribbon cutting
yeah,
channeling.
yeah, and the first few notes really
Mm-hmm.
he starts and you know I just had no idea, which is kind of funny. Um, One of the things that Zebulon mentioned when he originally came in 2008 is that that the Pioneers College would begin their theoretical classes. They would begin teaching these classes
Mm-hmm.
together with anyone else when the point came that all of the pioneers had actually, or most of them at least, had actually stepped in and created some sort of stewardship. He
Mm-hmm.
didn't use the word stewardship, but this is really what it was. And it's
Yes.
very interesting to see that after the newsletter that we sent out on May 2nd, it was, look at what is happening now.
Oh
Oh,
yes, and I mean in so many different ways too. From just suggestions
Yeah.
of people trying to help out from their suggestions or their efforts in other ways. The donations, of course, also, but in
Hmm.
so many ways things have opened up.
Yeah, yeah, it's beautiful how this has happened really, and how it gives us the opportunity to really do this on a very regular basis.
yeah.
Exactly.
Because that's one of the comments that we have received, that to many people it has become a very good exercise to know that there's regular contact, that there are regular things that occur on our main hall and on our other pages, that they can check in with the podcasts on a regular basis as well. And what I'm looking forward to is us traveling
Oh.
and being able to be with so many people out there, all of you out there, and having you with us while we do these things
Oh,
and
absolutely.
start spreading the information that
And
way.
putting
Yeah.
that energy into the channeling, and then that goes out. It just really becomes,
Yeah, yeah.
much more connected.
I really look forward to all of that. And again, I was surprised at the sharpness of the Zebulon
Yeah.
message.
The clearness.
Yeah, yeah. Are there some quotes, Ambika, that you have selected that you would read and we could talk about?
Yeah, I had a few that really attracted my interest, and the first one was creating an end or a new beginning in your life is nothing more than a dimensional shift on the vertical ladder of dimension, you see? And why that struck me so much is that I was like, right now, because of Brie, I know how we can make that dimensional shift through imagination.
Mm-hmm.
So that was really like, oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, yeah. Any other quotes?
Yeah. Please forget linearity for a moment. Please forget any thoughts about a beginning, a middle, and an end. And when one does this, when one actually lets go of a beginning, a middle, and an end, one invokes within oneself the God concept, because the God concept is the only thing you know in this reality, which has no beginning and which has no end. And for this specific reason, it cannot be known in this reality. And um,
Yeah.
that is kind of like going to that consciousness feeling if
Mm-hmm.
you're raising above the linearity.
Mm-hmm. Actually, that kind of brings me to another topic, and it is the it's the feeling that has been inside of me lately, ever since we did the last show, really. And it is this sense of how to say, it's not really a sense in the Akara sense,
Hmm.
if you will, forgive the pun, but it is a sense of how to put it. I would almost want to say fragility, the fragile.
Uh-huh.
We are all experiencing, and according to the emails that we've been getting from you, we're all experiencing this major shift,
Yes.
which has taken us out of a creational cycle and into an integrational cycle.
Yes.
But many people misunderstand this because they think creation is all about manifesting,
Right.
but it's not. You know, creation, and I'm actually already a little bit on top of what Zebulon is going to be talking about tonight. And one of the aspects he's going to be talking about in the whole idea of their presentations is going to be creating energy.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go into that idea, then the creational period actually requires the most consciousness
Right.
because it is not
Mhm.
experiential. You're asked to be anywhere at the same time, or
Mm-hmm.
everywhere at the same time, and to pull this creation into beingness, which only at this stage, that is what we are now experiencing, and again, all of you out there, is becoming manifest.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting how that has been happening. And that move from a creational to an integrational state has made me much closer to myself,
Mm-hmm.
has brought me the knowingness that these things are actually going to occur, that this ascension process has begun and will be infinitely ongoing, just like Ikara said, get used to change because change will be all
Exactly.
there
Mhm.
is, right? So all of these things, all of these changes that are occurring now, which makes it very interesting because I at the same time feel that we are in a lull. You know, we have gone over a major um, mountain
Right.
and we're moving down now, but actually we've moved down so quickly, which doesn't mean that our vibration is low or anything, but, just metaphorically
Right.
speaking. And we're going through this valley now. But I see with the coming information and the coming messages and things like that, that we'll be moving out of that again very shortly. Have you guys also noticed how Kundalini has kind of settled
Yeah.
lately?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's kind of an indicator for me.
Yeah.
I know that this is going to be going on in cycles and that
Right.
these cycles are going to last for a long time.
Right.
And actually, that they're going to decrease in length but increase in intensity.
Oh.
So that's going to be quite interesting
Mm-hmm.
because if they increase in intensity and decrease in length, that means that the typical feelings of nausea and pain, even, and all of those weird little physical sensations that we've been having are going to be diminished because it won't have time to really register in the biological.
Exactly. That does
Okay.
make sense.
Yeah, and
Yes.
and so we're actually moving into these energy bursts that we're gonna be getting,
Cool.
and actually Zebulon is already talking here to me. He's basically talking about May 13th, which we're in now, and he says he doesn't want to give dates because it's not about linearity. But in this moment of experience, we're going through a sort of shift which is going to last from May 13th on till May 20th, um, which is, according to him, well, I could just as well go in channeling, couldn't I? But
Mhm.
anyway, which is according to him going to be the time when we're going to start climbing the next mountain, and that doesn't
Back into
mean.
creational phase.
Yes, but within the integrational phase.
Mhm.
So
Mm-hmm.
there's major phases and minor phases.
Okay.
So we're now moving into from a major creational shift into a major integrational shift.
Mm-hmm.
Yet within the integrational shift, there's like smaller
Pockets of
waves.
creational.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
where it
Mm-hmm.
starts to flourish.
Mm-hmm.
Like every seed needs to rain and grows and needs
Mm-hmm.
to rain again and grows, like that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But what I do want to point out is that when I said we're going to be climbing another mountain, that does not mean it's going to get tough. So before anyone out there very well starts thinking about that, be very aware of your creational power. We're going to be moving into an area of intensity, but that does not mean heaviness.
Right. Don't let
Intensity,
your mind set you up for something you don't need to have to go
yes,
through.
yes, yes. So it's going to be a beautiful intensity. I see it as that moment. I see us right now as this little seed that is quite ready to have the first seedlings come out, and we're quite ready to burst through. And that first burst is gonna, according to Zebulon here, is gonna be happening around that time. Again,
Very interesting.
yeah, again, we don't want to put dates on anything because that is illusion anyway. As Bree would say, it's part of the unreal,
Yes.
and it is true.
Very good. Very good.
Thank you, thank you.
Mhm.
And so it is true that dates are not important, but we are experiencing a linear time frame. So just to give you an indication, if you feel these things occurring, know that you are on track. All right.
Right.
So that's where we are with that. Now, in before we go back to Zebulon, there is an interesting comment I would like to make because I'm talking about sensing things and picking things up. And so I was transcribing Ikara's Alchemy of Ascension Part 1 message today, or editing, I keep saying transcribing, editing. And while I was doing that, and this is also typical of Ikara, he always wants to push me into another channeling when I start editing. Yeah. I know. He's like, okay, we've got 20 pages so far. Let's go for 40.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's not really. I've made a pact with Ikara. When I'm editing, you can give comments, but that's it. The channelings happen during the channelings. That sounds
But he
logical.
doesn't
He
listen.
doesn't really listen.
No, no, he does not. He's so sovereign
Yes.
and neutral.
Yes.
But anyway, this is what he said to me, and I wrote it down so I could read it to you all. And it is about the senses, the energy senses.
Hmm.
He says, we call these the senses because a sense is something which you appear to observe, but it is not your true observation. This is the result of passive senses. Active senses are no longer called senses, but simply consciousness. In this way, you learning about these 12 energy senses results in a further peeling away of the layers that block your only true sense, your expansive, expressive, creative, compassionate, infinite, timeless, spaceless one sense of self.
Very
Yeah, it's
good.
beautiful.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting because it basically says that what they're teaching us now is awareness,
Right.
and they're presenting it through what we have known in biological reality always as senses.
Hmm.
So that's quite interesting because I was always confused. I was always confused with my Lemurian memories,
Hmm.
and Ikara saying time and time and time again that in Lemuria, they had 12 senses. And I was like, that's not right, Ikara. We didn't have 12 senses in Lemuria. Why do you keep saying that? But now I'm beginning to understand that he's taking our 3D concept of physical linear senses
Right.
and using it to start translating for us a bigger reality
Right.
where these because when we go back to Lemuria, when we talk about, as Akara does, the sense of time, Lemuria, everything was fluid. Art in its highest form was fluidity, no material objects, but the creation of an energy field, or a perpetual waterfall, which would be simply called out of the desire to create, that sort of stuff would be high on the level of art.
Uh-huh.
And the big thing about Lemuria was that at the time, I'm sorry, was that at the time, Earth was still open to a lot of other life out there. And so a lot of the art that was created in Lemuria as really divine art, creational art, using the elements to create, was then taken to other worlds and used there as the actual creational paradigm for that world.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah. For instance, the whole perpetuum mobile, I should say,
Hmm.
between the Earth and the Moon,
Uh-huh.
and how it reacts to the water,
Uh-huh.
was an invention of a Lemurian artist. And I will not go into the name here because otherwise he's probably gonna come into channel. He was a chatter, that one. So anyway, so I'm just gonna keep that name out of my brain.
Mm-hmm.
But that sort of thing was very common in Lemuria. So this identification in 12 senses was always very weird for me. We talked about the river of time. You know, when he said, let's get poetic here for a
Right.
while,
Oh yeah.
that's kind of like how we saw things. We talked about the river of thoughts, you know, meaning that we never saw ourselves as stuck in it back in Lemuria, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It was always this river, and we were just playing in the river, and whatever came, came, because we always trusted that the river would move, that we would move the river in a way. So it was a whole different way of looking at things. But now I'm beginning to understand, especially with the addition that was made earlier. Who was this? Oh, it was me.
Oh my.
Yes, in one of the podcasts that we did, I was talking about the 12 vibrations and how they would become, how they would move beyond vibrational energy, really merging into each other,
Right.
becoming this oneness thing.
Mm-hmm.
Still sovereign, though, as an expresser of all things. That is, I think, where it's going to go with these 12 energy senses also. So I have a feeling that a lot of people right now are not quite using the material in the best possible way. And that is that it becomes necessary to invoke your imagination into all of this. When I was editing Ikara, he added a part to the channeling where he spoke about Lorien's exercise that was done at the beginning of Alchemy of
Right.
Ascension with the neocortex and firing off images into the pineal gland so
Mm-hmm.
it could move into the pineal lobe and things of such nature. And Ikara reminded me today, last time we spoke about the real and the unreal.
Right.
And Ikara reminded me today of the big difference between imagination and fantasy.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I don't know if everyone can kind of feel what that is about. But there is a big difference between imagination and fantasy. One, like as Brie or Ikara would say, one is real, the other one is not.
One comes from the heart, and the other one comes from the mind.
That is one way of looking at it. Another way of looking at it would be that imagination comes from the infinite. Fantasy comes from the finite. What I mean by that is that fantasy necessarily has to use elements of the non-vibrational space, which is your past, to recollect these elements, put them back together, and potentially create something which appears to be new, but is not new at all.
Right. It's just a recreation.
Do you remember the night that we sat here and you were talking about the beach?
Yes.
Could you share?
Yes, we were sitting here. Well, actually, Ambika and I had been out that day. We don't get out very often, so it was kind of a unique thing that we were out that day. And it just hit me that I would really love to go to the beach.
Yeah.
And when we got back, I was telling Yeshua that when we do go anywhere that we come close to a beach, so that they would kind of be aware, they don't have to go, but I'm going to the beach the first opportunity I get. And so I started kind of going into all the things that I wanted to experience when I was at the beach and describing this beach, and just really got into the beach more from a sense of the sensory experience from it. So from the way that what I wanted to experience from my senses, and then translating that into what the place would be, both visually as well. And so it was more of an experience. But the thing is that it wasn't set up so that it would be an experience that I would have in the future. I was telling it and involved in it in a way that I was actually having the experience of being at the beach in that moment.
Yeah.
Which kind of took us all to the beach a little bit in
Yeah.
that moment.
Yeah.
And I think that's one big difference too, is that something that's imagined, it seems that it's not as real as what's not real that we're existing in already. But for me, it's one of those things that it has a timeless quality, and that
Yeah.
it's experienced in the moment.
Yeah.
It's not like a delayed gratification thing.
Yeah.
You can actually, if you really get your senses. Right now, we've just got the 5, so get those involved in it.
Uh-huh.
And um,
Yeah.
and what I'm finding too, the more I do that, the more like the water, the ocean water that I see is not like ocean water that I've seen so far on planet Earth, or the
Mm-hmm.
beach. Then everything's intensified, a little bit more extravagant than what would be here, what I'm seeing in my imagination.
Could you compare it to the ocean water on Rigel 7, for instance, that planetary star system that's about
You've got it.
2,000? Yeah, that's.
I kept trying to place it, and you've got it.
I think I went there once when I was, taking a break from
What's
the.
the next topic?
I was gonna bitch on the Ashtar command.
I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, but anyway, I'm just kidding.
Uh,
But to go to the whole discussion that you were having about imagination and the beach. What happened for me when you were talking about that
Uh-huh.
the other night is I was sitting here and I was quite content with myself, and it ties into what Zebulon was saying in his last message, because all of a sudden, you were talking and I started drifting into that experience with
Mhm.
you, but all of a sudden there was this thought field, that came up and wanted to become practical, and said and started whispering in my ear, at this time of year in this area, that and that and that would be the beaches to go to,
Started
etc.
planning it.
Yes, I started planning it, and immediately I cast it aside because
We don't plan.
yes, and the interesting thing is, Zebulon in his message yesterday, well, earlier, said in moving into expressive
Mhm.
energy, said something about how the mind, whenever a creative thought is presented to it or a creative idea, will implode or explode into a quantum field of infinite possibilities,
Yeah.
near infinite, he said,
Mhm.
because it's still vertical.
Right.
However, we are programmed in such a way to then select one, and this happens in a nanosecond, and take that one in as the only. And if we're
Yeah, I
lucky,
love that part because it's so true.
yeah, and if we're lucky, we got 3 or 4 solutions,
Exactly.
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
And so he was talking about that. And that was what was happening with me. My mind was trying to make
Trying
it
to get to
linear.
that one place that would be the best place to go.
Yeah, and the mind was trying to make it linear, right?
Mhm.
So I
Mhm.
cast that aside. And what happened then was quite spectacular for me. I cast that aside, and still my experience of being at that beach was going on. So while I was sitting here, I started hearing gulls in the
Right.
air. I started feeling a breeze. I started, feeling the sand under my feet. And I knew that if I allowed the the wave that was going to hit us, let's say, because we were close to the to the ocean, to actually hit us, we would be in that reality.
Exactly. And
Only
and
I
I
couldn't.
would like to bring that because that's what I'm talking about is like you really go into having that experience.
Hmm.
And that is not fantasy. That is imaginary. You're going far enough into it that you're actually
Yeah,
beginning to create a little mini reality.
yeah. And I would actually say that although, of course, you can use imagination to create yourself into a space that you already know. Let's say, like I love Hawaii.
Mhm.
So let's say that I could use my imagination to place myself there. But at this stage of the game, chances are so great that we're going to fall into the trap of fantasy
Yeah.
and are going
Yes.
to reach into the third brain, into that non-vibrational space, and start doing it that way. So I even believe that Ikara, in the message I've been editing now, says something about that the third brain
Mhm.
is a non-vibrational space, but going into the past or in the future forces a quantum vibrational beingness such as us
Mhm.
to replicate vibrations in a space where non-vibrations can exist, and that is the beginning of subfrequential
Right.
reality. So really that's the fantasy we're talking about. So even though it is possible to go back into the past and imagine yourself in a place that you have visited, I, for one, would recommend to all of you, when using imagination, to create new places, to allow them to be nondescript, to not give them identity.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and to give a moment or two and allow the neocortex to work a little bit with you. Don't let the mind don't go imposing or being forceful. It's more likely that it'll be the mind
Yeah,
than actually using the neocortex, because you want to get the neocortex involved, because
yeah,
then it takes on, I mean, it just
indeed.
becomes magical that way.
Yes, yes. This happened actually in Hawaii. A story I want to share about that. The three of us. Oh no, actually it was the four of us. Nancy
Mhm.
Reagan
Mhm.
was still traveling with us at the
Mhm.
time. So if you are listening, Nancy,
Big
thank you
hug.
for the rainbow picture, and aloha. We love you too.
Yes.
Um, but we were with the four of us in Hawaii. It was Maui, and we were sitting outside one night, and Katumi came into my body and started sharing this story about this young girl who used to paint rainbows in the
Mhm.
sky with her imaginary friend, let's say, who was called Tom. Right?
Yes.
Yes. So, and he asked the three of them, like, who do you think it was, right, that did that? And eventually, he told the story of how Faye used to do that when she was a 2 or 3 year old child, but of course when she was running in the fields, and of course had no memory of that. But the beautiful thing is, of course, Katumi kind of jumped with her a little bit, which she always
You know
does.
Katumi.
Yeah, but a few days later, we went to Hana in
Yes.
Maui.
Mhm.
And actually, throughout those days, we kept seeing rainbows everywhere. They were just there magically. And I know there's a lot of rainbows in Hawaii. So for mind energy to come in and say, no, 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 there's a lot of rainbows created in Hawaii, this was not what I'm talking about. We went to the seven sacred pools in Hana, which is a little bay in a very natural park still. And
It's
we sat,
beautiful.
oh yeah, and we sat there for a while, remember?
Mhm.
And there were like 50 people there,
Yeah.
all playing
Mhm.
in the waterfalls.
Yes.
Mhm.
We, the four of us, however, were looking out at the ocean, and Faye was sitting in front of us, looking at this beautiful bay. I'll post a picture on Shalalea. Sitting at this beautiful bay, we're looking, and lo and behold, this rainbow starts to appear from the left side of the bay. It starts to paint, quite
It was
literally.
Yeah.
literally as
Yeah.
if there was a paintbrush. We
Yes.
watched the thing just as if there were a paint. It was, the rainbow was wonderful, but the thing that was the most extraordinary about it was how it came to be in the sky.
Yeah.
And how we were the only ones really
We were the
seeing
only
it.
ones
Yes.
that
No one
saw it.
saw
No
it.
one else saw
We
it.
even were able, or Nancy was able to take a picture of it.
Mhm.
So that was pretty beautiful. And it vanished a few minutes later.
Yeah.
It just started going away again.
Mhm.
So, and all the time Faye was sitting there, and I had tears in my eyes because I saw that little girl, as Katumi had told her, painting those rainbows. That was so amazing. And I know that you were not going to share this story, but I did anyway because I want to stimulate everyone out there that these things are
Yes, they
possible.
are.
Yes.
We have had experience after experience after experience now on a daily basis.
Yes, and it's a huge component is opening your mind to the possibility.
Yeah, and that is why imagination is so important
Mhm.
because the brain really cannot comprehend this. The brain is programmed, remember, uh, as as a 3D reality observer.
Storage, information
Limitation.
storage. Yeah.
Yeah, so it simply cannot identify, let's say, with the idea that that is possible, because if that is possible, then it means that its programming is not making sense, which creates a system error,
Right.
which is really what is happening
Mhm.
anyway at the moment, and that is what is creating the discomfort. So the longer you try to get the system to work again or resist the system error, the more problems you're going to have, which is what Kutumi was talking about in his earlier message last Sunday.
Surrender.
Yes, yes.
Right.
So that was pretty important.
Yeah.
Now, I know we're almost about 40 minutes into the show, or maybe slightly over that. So there's one more thing I want to bring up before we go into Zebulon or whatever is going to happen after that, and maybe you guys still have some items too. But this happened the other night. Actually, it happened May 12th. And I'm just going to read because I wanted to remember what exactly happened. So I'm going to read what happened to you. I was sitting in my room working at my computer on my bed, feeling very peaceful and one with all things, and all that. So this is what I wrote. Am in a very good balanced mode, totally in line and with spirit I am within. Then there is a mosquito buzzing
Oh, the
about.
mosquito
Yes,
story.
yes, yes. Now, after the door had already slammed several times because of the wind, and I was able to maintain my I am consciousness state of awareness, I could not maintain my level with the mosquito. I am aware that when the mosquito acted, I became the reactor and at that moment identified with my body. My reaction was to scold the mosquito to go away. I actually said that out loud. I said, "Go away, mosquito."
No.
Yes, I did. I was not one.
Demonic.
Yes, and get up and close the window. But after that, the mosquito plague only got worse. So I was actually writing a question to myself or Ikara or whoever wanted to listen. And the question is how do you act as I am, code or no personality code, in a reactive universe that dominates you into being the reactor instead of the actor,
Good
right?
question.
Yeah. And the funny thing was that in the course of my question, the answer was beginning to form. And the answer was the statement, I am awareness over matter.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I am awareness over matter is actually a good one. In the, let's say, Ascension teachings that I have done with people throughout my lifetimes and generations and stuff like that, we did exercises that allowed people to move their consciousness, for instance, into a flying bird up there in the sky and merge with the bird and observe the landscape that was there, for instance, because you just change your point of observation at that time. But being awareness over matter is quite a different thing altogether. Did you have any feelings with that when we were talking about that last time? Do you remember?
Well, I know I was a little puzzled. It was like I needed more information to really grasp exactly what you meant by that.
Yeah. And how about you?
Well, to me, it sounded, yeah, I would almost say like magical. If you are, if you're there, I think then you can really start to play with your reality.
Yeah, but that's all very wonderful, of course, but magic is not gonna explain anything to
No.
us. So what really happened with you on the inside when you heard that statement? Because what you actually said is coming from some sort of spiritual identification with magic, which allows you or your mind, let's say, to make magic unreal.
Hmm.
So how about we really go into what you really felt?
I could feel what you mean, um, but it's difficult to give words to it.
Okay. How about we go deeper still? But this is what is happening right now. We need to begin to truly grasp the
The little tiny subtle that we
yes,
all do it. We all do it a
yes,
thousand times a day, I bet. But
yes,
these little ways that we've got to go and peel that layer back of these little ways that we're still camouflaging
yes.
the truth of who we are
Mm-hmm.
from ourselves.
Yes. So I am awareness over matter, Ambika. What do you feel there? What does your what does your essence, your sense of knowing tell you?
It feels like being the creator in that moment, like being able to connect to the things around you, and out of that point, um, let it be interactive with you.
So how do you do it practically? How are you awareness over matter? Anyone?
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I know you gave, but I still didn't quite. It was very late when we were discussing it.
Okay, but this is a good one here
Mhm.
already, because you just said
I
I
don't
don't know.
know.
Yeah.
That
Mhm.
is not awareness over matter. That is
Right.
matter over awareness,
Yeah.
because
Right.
now you're actually using the matter, which are your
Mhm.
neurosynaptic pathways, to research throughout your brain and see that that knowledge hasn't been stored there yet. But this is something that you cannot get from the third brain. This is really this is really an awareness over matter
Mhm.
that quite literally needs to transcend who you are at this moment. But I will guarantee you that there is no answer that you cannot give. There is no question that you cannot answer.
Right.
So, access, as Ikara and Lorian have said, remember in Lorian's first message, he said, we need you now to reach down into your DNA throughout the lifetimes and take up from there the knowledge that you have all been doctors, that you have all been artists, that you have all been scientists, that you have been all life incarnated all throughout the universe, even things that we have not experienced ourselves as physical incarnations. For instance, let's say, there's only one out of so many people who gets to be a pharaoh.
Right.
But
Mhm.
there's thousands of people today who remember that they're being a pharaoh or they
Right.
have been a pharaoh. So that's because all of these things are coming together.
Mhm.
Now, instead of going to your brain to answer these questions, go, I'm not going to say go to your heart, because we all know the importance of the heart, but it ain't going to answer your questions either,
Mhm.
because the heart is the river that will lead you to the questions,
Mhm.
the answers, really,
Right.
by its natural flow.
Mhm.
So try to go there and try to really know that you have that answer. I mean, this is something that a lot of people, a lot of pioneers, I will say,
Right.
are not understanding. Ekara's opening statement clearly states that all of you, all of us, have been these mystery school scholars, that we have been in these things, that we have built this knowledge up for years. So for you to say, I don't know, out there, if you say this to yourself, if you say that you cannot do something, who are you kidding? It's time to stop fooling yourself. Imagine the answer, right? Let it come out of you. You cannot do or make a mistake if you just allow the fantasy to move out of the way and allow the imagination to come in. There is going to be an answer, and the answer may not be the linear answer that you were expecting, but it won't be, well, sorry to
I don't
say,
know.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, indeed, it won't be that either. So let's go again. Huh? If you go into I am awareness over matter. Now, this is a very basic formula that you have been co inventing, co creating throughout your mystery school days, throughout your mystic days, right? And you knew what that meant. You had to have known what it meant, or you could not have put yourself in the position that you are in now to actually answer it. You see what I mean?
Mhm.
Now, so we need to raise up here. We need to
Mhm.
raise above ourselves, and we need to actually look at all of these personalities that we have created throughout the lives. And even if you don't find the answer there, then just look at life itself. There is an interconnectedness within you, which is life. And in that flow is akenaic space. And in that akenaic space is this answer. What is the only true answer that consciousness can give to the statement, I am awareness over matter? Interesting, huh?
Mhm.
Shall I spill?
Yes.
Please.
Actually, what's been happening here, and I do have to say that maybe I've not been pushing you into it, but I've seen you go there and didn't stop you.
Right.
I saw you continue, and your eyes even went up, both of you. You
Mhm.
kept continuously going to the third brain,
Mhm.
trying again and again
Mhm.
and again, a new search command, a new search command.
That's true.
You know what the only answer is to I am awareness over matter? I am. That's the only answer
Mhm.
consciousness ever gives. I am. So what if somebody who is in personality would say to you, you are filth, you are disgusting? Consciousness says,
I
I
am.
am.
Yeah.
And
And
the filth and the disgusting would actually be attributes that we're.
yes, and the consciousness would be able to
Mhm.
recognize that as attributes and,
Mhm.
as
And
such,
discard it.
yeah, yeah. It never steps away from anything. It doesn't expect not to know the answer because it knows that the question is itself.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
know? So even without having the physical answer, what consciousness would do would be to say, I am, and would then explore. This is then the act of exploration. You are not attending this school. You are not attending the college, and this is for everyone out there. You are not attending to get all the answers. You are attending so you may remember how to explore. Because if we here, or any of these channeled messengers that are with us so regularly, would pretend to have the answer, they would rip you away from the act of exploring. So all of these answers are always directions, introducing directions to your sense of direction, let's say,
Mhm.
so that you can go there. And even consciousness does not pretend to want to come up with the same answer twice.
Right.
Mhm.
So I am awareness over matter. How does this work? It would never answer that question twice in the
Mhm.
same way, because in
Mhm.
the next moment it answers, its awareness will have changed.
Mhm.
You see?
Right.
So, and this was just a silly example, really, but it is
But it does make a good point, and it makes a good point in how these fine little things
yeah,
are still in the way just as much as some of the things that seems like they're bigger,
yeah,
but I mean it's all the same. There is no bigger, smaller. It's all the same.
yeah, it's true. So anyway, we have brought up this little tidbit here of the mosquito story, let's call it, not to provide the answers for you, but to do what consciousness does. I am awareness over matter is a direction that you can use out there, and this is how, by the way, the exploratory talks work. That you can use out there to, create your own mosquito experiences, open yourself up to exploring yourself further, to investigating yourself further. Do not just push the mosquito away, but actually go into the experience of it and how it would be to actually be able to change your reality
Mhm.
Mhm.
with it in cooperation, co-creation with it. So try try this out whenever something bothers you or bugs you or whatever. Go to the statement, I am awareness over matter, and try not to go to your third brain when you answer it. If you go to the head at all, or when you try to explore it, if you go there at all, to the head, only go to the pineal lobe or the neocortex, allow that to work with you, and take whatever happens there into the akene, and from there into the akonai, which is in the belly, and just see what happens. Because what we need to become aware of, and again, Zebulon's latest message, the one that was done in October 2008,
Yes.
I believe,
September.
or September, end of September, really talks about that, really discusses that. And again, it was discussed in the Alchemy of Ascension series that this is an interactive, holographic platform of information which is built to have us join this ascension process as one, let's say. So technically speaking, that means the more you explore, the more you investigate, the more you question, and question the material, question yourself, question your experiences, and deepen them, the more that will have an effect on how the hologram is built up. Because this is what we need to realize now. We are a hologram together, all of us listening to
Right.
this right now. And what is happening to one of us is going to be presented to all of us.
Right.
Mhm.
So keep that in mind as you go a little bit deeper into the statement, I am awareness over matter. And actually, as you go a little bit deeper into all of this material that will be presented, that will be available. So, Anyway, do you have anything else to add?
I don't believe I do.
You don't?
I don't either.
Okay, well then, how about we go prepare for Zebulon?
Sounds good. I'm looking forward to it.
Me too. I think it's going to be a fascinating class.
Mm-hmm.
So, see you all on the flip side. I'm
Okay.
going to change into Zebulon.
Okay.
Enjoy.
Bye-bye.
Bye.